PNG happenings.
Honorable Don Polye addresses misuse of social media platforms.
But you mean Larim, you, Honorable Member of Lokandep, you've been like up plenty time, but Nogat, just the time you can out him bell heavy blue.
Oh, Speaker, thank you, Mare blue. Yeah, Master. Most important the same too because I'm butter and big plus something, but thank you for giving me Mare. Grievance from me looking lo social media and me like him all young, especially those who are on the Facebook, on the laptops and the computers to take note of this when I speak this because there's so much antagonism, so much frustrations caused on the population by what they're doing on the social media against leaders on the floor of Parliament and other leaders in the business sector and in the private, also in the public service sector. And Mr. Speaker, I see that as a very negative trend. We've never seen that. Could have been there in the minds of people but never come out because there was no extensive use of the social media platforms like we see today. Could be, but it is turning on the direction of a very dangerous a trend. For instance, let me be blunt, and probably I am the first to, I'm the best example to use, and then I'll probably mention other leaders. Somebody called me Dopey Donny. Well, I tried to look up in the dictionary to see what Dopey means and what Donny means, because my name is Don, but some young fellow sitting behind a social media writes my photograph. I've got his handsome photograph of me with my cowboy cap on. He puts it on there, and I'm very happy that I see my face. But in front of it writes in big bold, Dopey Donny. And then another one writes, Dopey Donny Donkey. Well, I sing my song with my grandchildren. Father was a donkey, mommy was a dummy. I do sing those songs. It's funny to me. But then I look at other documents or Facebooks like this floating around, and I see they're mentioning ministers and leaders now. Recently when I saw the Honorable Governor for Enga, Honorable PeterONeill, when he was nominated by the opposition as a nominee for this the rejected vote of no confidence, and I find so much negative written about him. Not just him. I've seen so much written about Rainbow Piter. Not just him. I've seen written about Alan Bird. And I look on the government side. So much negative written about the Prime Minister, Honorable JamesMarape. Then I see other ministers. About the Deputy Prime Minister, they said, oh, the Deputy Prime Minister is walking to the bank with all smiles, he's happy. Mr. Speaker, I'm now saying, what is going on here? So there are people at the back of those leaders who support them against those others who they don't support. They're now antagonizing. They're making each other angry by posting all those statements on the platform. That's very damaging to leaders. That is really fragmenting the solidarity. Should not happen. Should not happen. Leaders are supposed to be respected. There's one attitude of Prime Minister Honorable JamesMarape that I respect. He said, I was not in the caucus yesterday, but when Honorable the Governor for Enga Province as a nominee, as an alternative nominee to the seat that he owns, he went to the government caucus, and then he says, I just did it because I volunteered to put my name up. And then the Prime Minister goes, you don't have to apologize. That's enough. You've got the right to do that. I think that's a good spirit. That is the kind of respect that should be given to those leaders who exercise their rights. There should not be hatred. There should not be antagonism. We should not be putting those negative, defamatory statements on leaders on the floor of Parliament. I want young PapuaNewGuineans to understand this. Probably you're working for one member of parliament, or for a group of people, or for a government, or for opposition, or for anybody doing that. But what you're doing is destroying the country, because you're destroying the leaders that are leading you, leading the nation forward. Another example I've seen is, let me blunt also, the honorable member for Yalwapang here. He had a family problem, and all of us have family problems. I fought with my wife too, and not that we box, but we argue and we talk. And it's just that I'm lucky that my wife doesn't drag me to the courts, because my wife she's very understanding and probably she's not dragging me to the court. But then I find some leaders, they face some challenges, and the wives are different. Then I see people quickly saying, oh, see, you are this, you are that, and they try to go into the family affairs. And I said, those are not good things to do. Because every human being has their fallacies, they've got their failures, they've got their defects. We should try to build each other up, not destroying each other. You look at what the Indians do. Mr. Speaker, the Indians, when you see them in any parts of the world, you go to an Indian town. That's Indian town. You go to Singapore, that's an Indian town. There's a Chinatown also, similarly on the other side. Why? They do the Chinatown or Indian town. Because they support each other. Those that are there in the upper echelon of business or public service, they try to support those that are struggling underneath. They do not badmouth each other. The Chinese do the same thing. The Europeans do the same thing. It's in this country that we try to cut each other out. See, we should not personalize. We should be happy people, supporting one another. The main common goal is that we progress forward as a nation to transform ourselves to become better. So I'd like to ask all those young people who are using those platforms to abort it, if the people who are supporting them and helping them to do it by buying flex cards and mobile phones and giving them, I'd like to urge all of us to also stop that. It is very negative. We must be united. We must not be regionalistic. Neither should we be provincialistic. Or we should be supporting ethnicity. No, we should be one. It doesn't matter where you come from. The best of us should be leading this nation. The best. The best must be put in the positions of secretaries and MDs and so forth. The best among PapuaNewGuineans must be in the front line. So you lift the profile high. But what you're doing now is you bring it so close, so low. You support your own countrymen, your own member of parliament, your own person whom you support, and you now bad-mouthing one another and you antagonizing that person. And what does the other people do? They do against your leader. So every leader here will have supporters at the back who will be now throwing mud at each other. What happens to the people? Will be fragmenting and dividing the people all over the place. Young people, stop this. And if leaders, and if business communities, and if public servants, whoever, supporters are doing this, stop it. Because we must see the common good of PapuaNewGuineans. Oh, Mr. Speaker, when I see things like this, it really hurts me, because there must be love for us to progress forward. You cannot progress a nation with hatred. Hatred cannot progress this country forward. It only decays. Hatred brings to decadency, deterioration, corruption. It destroys. We don't move forward. We must have love, peace, happiness, even in challenging times. Let's be happy. Even when it's so difficult, let's be happy. Even if you're not Christian, just let's be happy. I don't pray as much as you guys do, but I'm always happy at my home. Even if my wife is trying to kill me there because of some mistakes I do, I'm still singing. And she says, since when did you go to the church? And we have to be there. But I see so much hatred floating out everywhere, Mr. Speaker. And in this grievance debate, it's my grief that what we see young people using media platform to do is destroying unity. It's enhancing fragmentation, and it's creating hatred among leaders and people. We must be united with a good cause to serve our people. And I ask people to abort bad-mouthing, writing bad stuff like Doffy Donny on all his platforms. It doesn't do anybody any good. And let's respect every family too. You can be a wife basher. You can be this. On the parliament, we should set an example, of course. We must not bash our wives. We must not have those. Of all of us, I believe that our family is number one priority. Family must be number one priority. Yourself and your wife, number one priority. Then the electorate you serve, then the people of Papua New Guinea. Cannot work the other way around.
Honorable Member Blokandep, I will have to interrupt you because your time is lapsed.
Okay, I conclude.
No.
I like to add that let's not use the platform to destroy one another. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
PNG Happenings.